Voila. Okay, so welcome to the last community call of this year. I'm very happy to be back facilitating some of these calls. And you won't be hearing much from me though today, because most of the spotlighting of this event will be given by Anna Lowe of Manufacturing Change and a member of the Internet of Production Alliance as well. I am Barbara Schack, and I coordinate the Internet of Production Alliance until recently, and now I'm actually diving more specifically into a project called Make, which if you haven't heard about it, we have other community calls about this, so I invite you to head there to our YouTube playlist and see some of those previous calls. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the agenda and then into updates, and then the core of this call. We are many people on this call from very many different places. We all try to be as respectful as possible to each other. This means both in the chat, but also on camera. I've recently heard that something like eye rolling can be very stressful for the person speaking. So be aware that other people can see you when you're on camera. If you are very new to these calls and to the community of the Internet of Production Alliance, we will be really happy to hear from you at some point during the call. We will be stopping regularly to take comments or thoughts, and you'll be able to share these thoughts and comments both out loud in audio or in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that as well. When there is an actual presentation moment, it is a good idea to turn off your video and your audio to save bandwidth for everyone who might have a slower connection. So that was sort of that introduction moment, but let's see what we're going to talk about today. So we will start by an update on the Internet of Production Alliance's work and the welcome that I'm going through. If any of you don't know what the Internet of Production Alliance is, we are a network of individuals and organizations working to make manufacturing accessible to anyone, everywhere. And in the updates, you'll see some of how we do this. Then we will spend most of our time launching the business models piece of work that has been a long time in the making and is very, very exciting. And on a personal note, I think this is one of the most exciting things we've done since I joined. And that was back in 2021. So, and then we'll have a discussion around that. We take notes as a group during these calls, and I realized that I hope someone can type this into the chat, and if not, once I'm not screen sharing, I'll copy it into the chat. It's a pad. You just start writing and all the content will be there. And then these notes are shared on our community forum, which I very much invite you to join after the call or during. So moving on to the updates, the Internet of Production Alliance, one of the ways that we do our work is through working groups. So these are members of the Alliance, members of this community who come together to work on different bricks of what make up an Internet of Production, or what paves the way for an Internet of Production to come to be. And I want to just give you a quick update about 4 of them that have set a calendar for monthly meetings. The Open Nowhere initiative works on the question of where do you find manufacturing capability. They will be meeting for the first time since they launched a data standard back in 2021. They'll be meeting for the first time on January 25th. They'll be taking stock from 2 years of testing the standard and gathering data in different ways and setting the strategy for the technical team of the Internet of Production Alliance to be able to move forward on some of the developments and some of the tools that they're making it available based on this data standard. Second initiative is called Open Know-How and is working on documentations, designs, how we codify, how to make something. They meet monthly, and the next meeting is on December 21st. And they are right now working on a collaboration with, amongst other organizations, GOSH, and specifically trying to work together around the topic of open hardware repositories and how some of the work in Open Know-How links with supporting repositories. The People and Skills initiatives is meeting monthly since some months, started this year. The next meeting is on January 9th, and they are about to start a prototype around mutual recognition skills. And there is a person who knows a lot more about this on this call. So now I'm getting a bit shy about messing up what I'm saying. And then the last group I want to tell you about is called the governance group. We've been heard of that one. And we've been working on a lot of redefining how the alliance is governed. And the next meeting is next Tuesday. And what the group is currently doing is looking at all the work that has been done and prioritizing what now needs to go out to the community for rounds of feedback. So that was that for the news on how you can participate in the Alliance or what the Alliance is up to. And then the last update I want to give you is about another event. You're at this one, the next one, unless you're watching this on YouTube, then you missed this one, but maybe you'll be able to join the next one. It's happening on Thursday, this coming Thursday. There's a URL for registering, and it is a showcase of one of the Internet of Production Alliance projects from this year called the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project. And there will be 9 makerspaces giving back testimonies of having been through 9 months of a distributed manufacturing trial where they tested manufacturing different devices in 9 makerspaces across 3 countries. They also were part of a mentoring program on how to showcase the impact of makerspaces. So these are the things that we'll be talking about on Thursday. It's going to be really interesting, I'm pretty sure, because the manufacturing spaces themselves, the maker spaces themselves are really interesting. If you want to know more about what we do, if you want to jump in, if you already know and you want to be a part of the conversation, all of the above, follow and join the conversations on the community forum, and the link is at the bottom here in yellow. Yeah, this is about all that you'll hear from me, because I am handing over to Anna. Anna, you should be able to share from here, and let me know if I can support you in any way during your presentation.
Great. Thank you very much, Barbara. I think it's letting me share. I'm just setting that up. So there should be a presentation loading on your screens about now, hopefully. Excellent. So thank you, Barbara, and all of the IOP team for hosting this this launch call. This is quite an exciting moment for me. I've been working on this topic around business models for in different ways for several years now. And we've got a website called localeconomies.org launching right now. So a bit about the agenda for today's call. I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about the content that's on the website and how we developed that. I'm then going to show you the website, let you have a look at that, and talk a little bit about the future plans. There will, of course, be time for questions at the end, but there's also time all the way through. Please do feel free to jump in with feedback or comments or questions at any time. Don't rely on me reading the chat while I'm presenting, but do feel free to jump in. So I wanted to start off by talking about why I've been working on this topic. Now, I've been involved in setting up a number of different makerspaces from places ranging from South London to a refugee camp in Jordan to Ghana to various other places. And there are a lot of differences in the makerspaces that I've been involved in, but there are also some similarities. The similarities from my perspective are that they may have different focuses and different reasons for being, but they're all creating impact in communities. And also most of them are struggling. Most of the makerspaces that I talk to are struggling in some way or another. Even ones that have a lot of funding to start up with struggle to find the right ongoing operating model to stay sustainable. So I think that the impact that makerspaces can have is really important and is going to become even more important with the crises that that humanity is facing right now. I think that we need the ability to innovate and to adapt to different climates to be distributed around the world. We need people wherever they are to be able to have access to the tools of innovation and production to make things they need and to be able to change things. So there is there's a great need for this. And I also think there's so much potential from makerspaces to become engines of locally productive economies. They're not the only player in that by any means, but they can play a key role in the ecosystems that will do that. So for me, that's why this is such an important topic. Now, I've been working on this most intensively over the last year or so under the MAKE project and the RISA project. And I'm hoping, I can't actually see the full list of attendance at the moment, but my colleague Martin, who has worked with me on this, I'm hoping that he's on the line, and if his connection is good enough, might just be able to say a quick hello and perhaps say why he is involved in this work. Are you able to join, Martin?
Yes, Anna, thank you so much. And I'm happy that finally we are launching this. Good evening, everyone. Of course, in Kenya, it's already 7 p.m. I'm so happy to be part of this because as one, I am a leader of a makerspace, and we've been struggling. And of course, if you talk to all the Fab Labs and Fab Foundation, you'll realize that most of them have been struggling to figure out business models. And this was a very good opportunity to compare notes and see how different people are struggling, but also different people are able to figure out some of the aspects. And that is what we have collected and brought together to know, to share, so that we can pick some of the best working ways, but then people will be able to adapt them according to their different situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And I don't think that our colleague Gertrude was going to be able to join us on the call. Do jump in, Gertrude, if I'm wrong about that. But I want to make sure that she's credited as well for her part in the work. That's Gertrude Mowen. And she has also been a big part of the putting this together, and the team who's created it, along with Martin and myself. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what we've done. We conducted over 50 interviews with people who run makerspaces and small-scale manufacturers and other organizations that play some kind of a role in a distributed manufacturing ecosystem. We've hosted a series of online discussions over the past year. There have been 8 of those. And those have been focused on particular topics, and we've had more than 200 participants across those events. We've held a number of workshops in person at events, including at the Africa Makerspace Gathering last year, Africa Open Science and Hardware, at the Global Innovation Gathering, a variety of workshops with over 100 participants in total, where we've tried to understand what people would like from something like this. So from all of that information gathering, we synthesized 17 what we're now calling blueprints. So we started off calling them business models and then called them business model elements. There is not a lot of agreement about what any of these terms mean. So we're now calling them blueprints, and each one is designed to tell you a bit about how an organization can operate to deliver certain types of value and to get some funding, some sort of revenue back for doing those activities in order to keep doing it. I'll say a little bit more about the blueprints and the groups they're in just a moment. The first version of the catalogue, the Open Catalogue of Business Models, was released in August of this year. That was funded by the MAKE project. And now we're very grateful to the funding from the RISA grant for the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project, which has enabled us to turn this into a website. And there's a few reasons why it's really important that we were able to turn it from a sort of static document into a website and share it much more widely. It's partly because to make the navigation much easier and more natural, because these are not necessarily separate models. We need to be able to show the links from one to another, and we can do that in a much better way on the website. Secondly, to do with maintenance. So it's designed to be a living document that can be constantly updated. So that's what we're now able to do. And finally, because I think we can start to look at building a community around this and a community of practice, and look at collecting other resources and conversations about how best to use those. And there's a whole host of discussions about implementation and practical matters that are made much easier by having it as a website by itself. It's really important for me personally to say that everything that we've done is released under a Creative Commons license. We are building on the knowledge that's out there in the community, and we want to share it as widely as possible. We would love for other people to build on what we've done in different ways. If you don't need to, but we would like to know about that so that we can then link to what other people are doing about it as well. So to just talk a little bit about the set of blueprints. So from all of those interviews and workshops and so on that we did, we identified 17 different models which fell into 3 groups. So there's one group that's based around access to knowledge. So this is you or your organization having some kind of knowledge or skill that other people want access to. So the ones there are training, edutainment and events, consultancy, business services, and startup support. The second group is around access to an asset, which can be a very tangible asset like a building or a machine, or it can also be something less tangible like membership of a community or a marketplace that buyers and sellers can find each other. But the core thing is that the activity is providing the asset, and the others want to pay to have access to that. And finally, there is a set of models that are around taking some value-adding step in a product life cycle, which can be anything from sale of materials through to end-of-life recycling. And a number of these are can be circular economy models. So sale of materials does not necessarily mean new materials. Selling reused materials is something that more and more places are looking at now. There are different types of manufacturing in there. There is repair services. So these are all part of the life cycle of a product from design through to end of life. So from there, I would like to take you into the actual website and give you a view of that. So can somebody just tell me if you're starting to see the website now, or do I need to change what it's sharing?
Might need that.
Sorry?
I can still only see the PowerPoint.
Okay. Hopefully
Yes,
it should be loading around about now. Okay, so the website is called localeconomies.org. This is because we see putting productive capacity as the heart of creating local economies, that resilient communities need to have access to be able to make and repair things. So the main bit of the website, of course, is about this set of blueprints and the ability to explore those. So I'm just going to go into one of those. They're arranged as a set of cards so that you can search for ones if you know what you're looking for. You can browse them you can filter them by category or by tag. And we will be, as we go forward and expand this and add more types of things, this should be quite an extensible structure, hopefully. So there are different ways in, or you can just browse and click on them and go in and have a look at what you want to do. So I'm just going to click on membership, which is the first one here. And the structure within each model that's shared is the same. We have a description of what we mean by it. Sometimes that's obvious. Sometimes it may be a little bit more subtle, particularly in cases where there are models that are quite similar. It talks a bit about what variations there are on that model, what potential impacts are of working on this model, some of the advantages and challenges. There are links to other models that can work well alongside this one. This is specifically because many makerspaces don't have the luxury that a lot of more focused businesses have of really being laser focused on one thing, which can bring benefits in its own right. But for makerspaces, it's often more realistic to have a portfolio of different models. So we're suggesting ones that can work well together. There's also a business model canvas for each one that talks about the key partners, the value propositions, and so on in this sort of standard structure. And that's the information that there is on each one. So I'll just go into product manufacturing as well to show you another one, but you'll be able to see the structure is very similar. We have the complementary models, we have the business model canvas, and so on. And in a moment, I'm going to talk a bit more about some of the plans for the future and the way that we're going to be expanding on this. But while I'm here in the actual website, I want to take a moment to show you the contributors page. And this is the list of the people and organizations that we were able to interview that gave their time to this project to share how their businesses are working. And we really, really appreciate all of that. And we're still keen to speak to more people as well. So if you're not on this list and you could be, then please let me know. Obviously, there's more information about the initiative as well. There is a sort of timeline of how the different projects have come together to build this up together. And there's some information about the team and about the funders who've made this possible. And also information about how you can get involved in this. And there are a few suggested ways that you can do that. So we're very keen to get feedback on how you're using this website or how you would like to be able to use it and what would make it better. We're keen to know about other resources that we can link to and sort of build this into a web of information about this topic. We are keen to interview more people still, and I'll say a bit more about that in a few moments. And as I said, we'd like to build a community around this so that the people who are interested in taking this work forward are able to give us input on what we should be doing next. So the URL is localeconomies.org. It's literally being launched today. So there are probably still some bugs in it that haven't been found yet, but we will be ironing those out over the next couple of days. And it's open for you to go and have a look and have a poke around and explore the information that's there. So I'm now just going to go back to the presentation. it's always clunky, isn't it, when you're sharing a screen and you have to switch between things. But I did want to show you the actual actual website. Can I just get a confirmation that we've got the presentation back again, please?
Still seeing the website.
Not yet.
I thought I did the right thing. Okay. How about now?
Perfect.
Great. Thank you very much. I have been talking for quite a while, so I might also just pause for a moment and just see if there's any comments or questions at this stage. Okay, then I'll push on to talk about some of the plans going forward. So the catalogue at the moment, the first version was written in English. This is not something that should be confined to English by any means, and we're really excited about getting it translated into different languages. I actually had some news yesterday that the first translation is complete. I haven't seen it yet, but there is now a Ukrainian version of the Open Catalogue of Business Models. And we have started discussions with partners about getting it translated into French, Spanish, and maybe Portuguese now, I think. And I'm hoping soon we'll have some news on being able to start working on an Arabic version as well. And I'm very keen to hear from anybody who would like to get involved in translating it into languages that you use and that you would find useful to have this in. There are additional resources that we're wanting to link into this. So something else that's being built as part of the Make project is an open makerspace toolkit, and this will obviously be linking into that. But we're keen to build out a sort of portfolio of resources that will both support this information, like resources on the how to use the business model canvas format, for example, and also things that build on top of this. So we're very keen to know about those kind of things. More examples. So we want to sort of deepen the information that's available about the different models by including examples and case studies of organizations that have actually done this or are doing this. And in some cases that may also spill over into being able to create templates for things. So and I'd like at this moment to mention the work that Dawa Irina is doing. I think she's on the call. I saw her earlier. I'm hoping she's still here. With Community Creativity for Development in Uganda, developing a solar-powered mobile phone charger and testing business models for manufacturing the chargers and then renting them out for use. So sort of basically charging people per charge of their mobile phone. Dawa, I don't know if your connection is good enough to say hello, and if you'd like to say add anything onto that, but please feel free to jump in if you can.
All right, thank you, Anna. I'm Dawa Edna Hilar, a South Sudanese refugee from Uganda. Yeah, as Anna said, we are working on a mobile phone charger powered by a solar. So we are CC4D, that's Community Creativity for Development, a civil based in Rhino Camp. So we developed that project because like in Rhino Camp, we don't have electricity and so on. So we are looking at how we can at least help the community to charge their phones instead of maybe traveling and so on. So we came up with that idea and we started working on the solar chargers, and currently we have them in the community, whereby like they charge their phones, then we are able to also get something little in return. Yeah, that's what I can add.
Thank you so much, Adawa. And so we're working together to test and develop a business model around that, and to document it openly and share that on the site in the future. There's a mentoring program ongoing at the moment. We're working with 3 makerspaces to support them to implement business models from the catalogue. Obviously, we're trying to help them, but we're also trying to learn from the process of doing that more about what is needed to implement these business models so that we can improve the content that's being provided. We're keen to disseminate this widely and share it to whoever can make use of it in all different places that it would be helpful. And to start building a community around that. And I can imagine, for example, communities of practice around, teaching the information that's in here, or about mentoring programs and how it can be shared that way, and things like that. And we'll also be looking to expand the scope of the catalogue. So, due to the funding, the initial research was focused very much on Europe and Africa. We have included also a few organizations from the Americas and from Asia, but we're keen to do more. So expanding it in that way. And I've, for example, been told anecdotally about a business model that we don't have in the catalogue yet, but that which several makerspaces in Latin America are using quite successfully. So I'm looking forward to understanding more about that. Also, expansion into different groups of businesses. So the research so far has been not exclusively makerspaces, but has been quite focused on makerspaces. But we're keen to talk to more dedicated manufacturing businesses, including open hardware businesses. We'd like a particular focus on them. And also to understand other ecosystem players. So, I would like this site to become a catalogue of blueprints for a whole range of organizational types and activities that are needed to play a role to make an effective local production ecosystem. And to me, that includes both local producers and some of the link elements. So, networks and platforms and, these kind of knowledge exchange platforms that can operate globally and that can lower costs and make it easier for local producers to work together. So we'll be looking to implement more of those things. So that's the end of the presentation I have. My email is on the slide, and please do feel free to take that down and get in touch with me, or you can get in touch through the website. The URL is localeconomies.org. I'm very open to taking questions and comments now. If there's anyone who'd like to share.
This is great work, Anna. I'm really excited to see this.
Thanks so much, Nathan.
Yeah, of course. This is awesome. If there are maker spaces, near any of us on this call that might be interested in it, what is a good way for them to get involved if we were going to share it with people who run maker spaces?
So yeah, thanks for that question. That is, I would say, hopefully you should be able to just share the website with them. And there is a page where we've sort of listed out the different ways that they might be able to get involved. So if I just paste the link to that page directly into the chat, then that's probably the best place to start.
Okay.
But from there, they would also be able to explore anything else.
Great.
And I'm also happy to have conversations if you want to link anyone to me directly. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. I know a couple of folks who I'll pass this on to.
Brilliant, thank you. And I would be keen to interview some spaces in the USA as well. I have not spoken to very many organizations from there at all yet.
I see Andrew has his hand raised, and if anyone wants to write in the chat, I'm happy to read out loud. There's a congratulations from Joe Long, as well as Dawa and Niels. Some of them need to head out. That is Niels. We've got thank yous in the chat. Andrew, and then Joe.
Big congratulations, Anna. Thank you for all of this work. I know it's something of a passion project for you over a number of years. And really also congratulations on demonstrating the website. It's doing that live and showing that it's actually real, because I know technology demonstrations don't always go to plan. So thanks for sharing that. And also that it's really exciting to hear about the different translations. I think that's going to be really good. Could you say a little bit about what the relationship is with open hardware? I know some of the business models aren't, a lot of the business models aren't necessarily about open hardware, but some of them are. But we have a big part of our community is very motivated by open sharing and open hardware in particular. So it sounds like something you're excited about as well. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit, please.
Yeah, definitely. So the terminology gets a little bit confusing here. So I'm just going to try and choose my words quite carefully. So we started out calling this the open catalogue of business models. And what we meant by that is that the catalogue is open, as in the information that we're providing is open for people to do what they want with. And that's really important to us. The information that we're providing is about business models that may or may not be open or about open hardware. So they are they're kind of mixed in together at the moment. We tried to speak to some open hardware businesses in the sort of set of interviews we did. We probably haven't spoken yet to as many as I would like, but we've got another push coming up on that. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to add in some more ones. We are sort of, some of the functionality is being implemented slightly stepwise, as anyone familiar with this kind of project may understand. So I'm not sure if we yet have a tag in for the models that have already been tested with open hardware, but we certainly will have that if it's not there already. And I would like to start building in, this is sort of one of the ideas when we get into building in the examples and case studies, is to be able to sort of illuminate how the same theoretical business model can work in different contexts. So you may have a product manufacturing business model that works with open hardware, and you may have one that works with proprietary hardware, and they can come under the same business model, but they're different flavors. So that's sort of one of the things that we are able to do now that this is a website, and why it was so important to be able to turn it into an easily navigable website from a flat document. Does that sort of address the points that you were hoping it would?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, there are some very successful businesses that are built on the manufacture and sale of open hardware. So so it's good to hear that you're covering that. And yeah, I'm thinking already about what's next that you already spoke to about in that area. So hopefully we'll be able to collaborate more in the future. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
We've got a question from Joe. Or a comment, maybe. Take the microphone. I can't hear. Can anyone hear Joe? Yeah, I'm not sure it's working either. Do you want to write the comment and I'll read it out? In the meantime, Anna, I don't know if you saw, but John Gershenson was pointing out that the ability to see complementary models makes it really easy to navigate, because often it's kind of hard to know like how to read through a website, and being able to hop from one to another just makes it not like you can get lost in a wiki, but you can actually see how things that interest you will like take you down a path. It reminds me of visiting a not makerspace in Denmark that was like, no, but we don't do the like makerspace thing, because like all our community are like private manufacturers and craftsmen, so we want to sort of stay away. And seeing how like that, okay, they basically focus very much on, they have assets that are interesting to communities of professionals, and how they might be able to ping pong there. Could be interesting for them. I wonder if Jo wants to try to speak again.
Oh, I can
read it
Jo
out loud, Anna.
Mentioning, yeah, I can see the chat now, and so Jo is just saying that they were going to mention that we're working on the open science shop and would love to connect around that. I would love to connect around that. I have, in one of my 4 million open tabs to follow up on, I have a Gosh forum post about the open science shop, because I wanted to get in touch and connect about that. So I'm really glad you've raised it. Let's do it.
Anyone else? Asad, I see you turn on your video. Is that because you would like to say something?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Anna. Yes, this is a brilliant website. I absolutely love it. And the way it's been laid out, the comment about how the complementary models are show up in reference to the one that you're looking at, definitely is a very nice feature there. Because, you know, I'm in Singapore, and Singapore business models are everything, sometimes more important than people's names. But especially when it comes to startups and having these conversations, I find myself having to convince people that, look, the nature of the makerspace work is not just about being a nonprofit or being a charity or being associated with that context. So I think this is going to be super useful moving forward. And I also just wanted to remark on the choice of using the business model canvas as a format, because it reminds me a lot of the open hardware canvas, which is also based on the business model canvas. So it is really nice to have that familiarity there. But very nice work. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks so much for saying that, Saad. And what you said there about how important business models are in Singapore reminds me of a point that I had wanted to make earlier around the naming of this. So one of the reasons that we moved away from that we're calling them blueprints rather than business models is that, so I have had, there are some people I talk to who have quite a sort of cultural aversion to the idea of business models. So I've also sometimes used the term sustainability models, because to me, it doesn't matter whether they're for profit or not, in a way. I mean, that's up to the individual organization. But if you want to have impact in the world, you have to have some way of funding your activities. And that's what we're really trying to get at with this catalogue. And then, you know, whether you use that to create profit or to grow your business or to have more impact, you know, these are all sort of on a spectrum. And that's not what we're trying, you know, we're not trying to dictate any of that. And I think there are also a lot of interesting conversations to be had around legal structures. And I think it would be great. That's another thing that I'd be keen to explore more in the future. It's obviously difficult to do so in a way that's across jurisdictions, but I do think that there are some commonalities in how community hubs and so on tend to end up structuring themselves. So yeah, that's another area I'd like to explore.
This is Barbara again. I was wondering how you came up with or plan on coming up with the tags. It's a bit of a research question. Like, what was the, like, are you combing through the interviews and seeing up elements, or are you basing this on like your previous knowledge and research into the topic? You know.
So the use of the tags, I'm quite sure, will evolve over time, as you know, as many aspects of this is. But the sort of the first iteration is for the tags to describe kind of contexts that we've seen this model successfully used in. So at the moment, all of the models in the catalogue have the tag makerspace because they've arisen out of research we did, and all of them are ones that we have seen being used in the context of a makerspace. So then we will another tag we've got is circular economy. So that applies to a smaller subset, but only the models that, it doesn't mean that that model is always a circular economy model, but it means it has an applicability in that context. So it's they're based at the moment on what we've seen, what's arisen out of the interviews and the conversations, and we're open to suggestion about whether that works, and if there is a different and or better way that we can use tags in the future.
Jeremy in the chat was asking how to join the mailing list, and so I've shared it. But if you're watching this online, in the localeconomies.org website, one of the last elements of the menu on the left says get involved, and in there, if you scroll down to the bottom, there is head to the contact page, or you can just go straight to the contact page, I suppose. That probably is the same link.
You are absolutely right. This is a possibly a bug, not a feature, I have to confess. I think that we had the holding page that we've had up before the website was live was only the sign up to the mailing list, and we now appear to have got rid of that completely and gone to a website that doesn't have the link to the mailing list. So
I've
if you would
shared
like,
it in the chat.
if you want to you can use the contact form and just type in it mailing list, and then I'll add you in that way until we get that sorted out. But thank you very much for finding that.
If there are no more burning questions, I would like to take back the screen share for the last 5 minutes. And start by saying a very big thank you to you, Anna. As I mentioned to you at one point in private, I find this work really fascinating because it links with some of work that I've done before at Libraries Without Borders, where it was that same, like, how do you showcase and maximize the impact of a shared resource within a community? And so the work that you've been doing on this is ringing so many bells in my head. So I found that really exciting. I will be sharing for 1 second, well, not 1 second, but like a minute. This again, which is the final slide, because I just want to shamelessly plug in some of the various funders that have enabled this to happen. I've put them chronologically, but when we started thinking about business models and the question of how you make an internet of production financially possible, there was the first elements of this research was supported by the Shuttleworth Foundation that moved to the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, where we worked on just looking out for what could be done in terms of contracting. And now 2 projects are supporting this, the MAKE project that was mentioned several times, as well as the IMA project, which is funded by RISA, which is a research funding pool from the UK International Development, or UKAID. So I just want to thank all of them, if only for having consistently given funding through quite a number of years, and it's escalated into something that's really useful, which is what happens when you don't have funding just for 6 months and then you don't know where to head next. While I was saying all of these things, you have seen all of our contact information. I really want to bring your attention to the community forum. And from the names that I see, a lot of you already are on it, but if you aren't, it is the place where our sustainability is. Even if all of us are no longer there, the next people interested in there will still be on that forum. So please do join. And there are some few other updates from the Alliance, and I will hand over the microphone to Andrew, who is the chair of the Council of the Internet of Production Alliance, to wrap up the meeting. And once he's done speaking, everyone will be free to either leave or hang around, but the recording will be stopped. Thank you.
Thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Great. I'm not quite sure if this is going to work, actually. Bear with me. No, I'm not sure this is going to work. We'll see what happens. Okay. We have some news about the team at the Internet of Production Alliance. So we think that this might be the last call where Sarah Hutton is working for the Internet of Production Alliance. Congratulations to Sarah. She's got a fabulous new job local to where she is, and working in a similar sort of space of technology and knowledge management, and you know, working as, you know, back in her roots again as a librarian. And at this point, I was actually going to hand over to Sarah to say a little bit about it, but she has warned me that her connection is a bit dodgy, and she's literally just dropped off the call. So, there you are. Fantastic. So just to say a huge congratulations, Sarah, on the new role. You'll be with us for another month. But I want to acknowledge all of the incredible work that you've done for the Internet of Production Alliance on today's call, just in case you aren't able to make the next one. It's the 12th of January is your last day, is that right?
I think it's the 15th, if that.
15th. Oh, it's the 12th today. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry. And you're going. And can you say a little bit about what you're going to be going on to do is in terms of the, you know, there's a lot of people here you've built relationships with, and they might be interested to hear your news.
Oh, sure. So I am gone, but not disappearing from the community. I'm going back to where I started my academic research pathway, going back into evidence-based medicine, medical research, and clinical research. And I'll be joining the team, one of the teams at UMass Medical in Worcester, where I will be partnering with graduate students, pre-med, and clinicians to do systematic reviews. I'll be talking with them about open source hardware, of course, public health, and I've already been having conversations with colleagues who, by the way, I think I saw Jeremy, as Barbara put it, parody on this call, who has a mutual colleague. I believe we kind of know each other through Charlie Schweik. I've already been talking with Charlie about connecting the work at UMass Med with UMass Amherst and the Internet of Production Alliance. So I'm very happy to be getting back into it, but I see it as a continuation of the work in the community, just kind of from a different perspective, and really where I have, you know, my greatest strengths in academia. So that's about that.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, I just want to acknowledge all of the incredible work that you've done. You've had 2 roles with us officially, but lots of roles with us unofficially. Officially, you've been working on the People and Skills standard, and that's led to the Maker Passport initiative and the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project and the MAKE project. But then also the the community engagement role that you've played, and you know, working on the forum and so on. The unofficial roles that you've had have included helping me a great deal with fundraising. We've been quite successful together with fundraising so far, so I really want to acknowledge your effort on that. And you've also done a lot of work helping the Alliance with its communications as well. And just, you know, finding new ideas, new opportunities to help us shape and frame what the Internet of Production could be as we endeavour to build it together. So thank you very much for your efforts. A month to go, and yeah, we'll be recruiting for someone to take on the role of community engagement for us. I haven't yet decided what that role should look like. There's factors such as funding that have to be taken into consideration, and it's a slightly tricky thing to work out at year end when there's so many things going on. But we will be recruiting for that. What we may do is look to appoint someone on an interim basis to make sure that the role is filled before doing a longer term appointment. But yeah, it's going to be difficult shoes to fill, because Sarah, your work has been phenomenal with us. So thank you very much. And I just wanted to share that news with the community as we wrap up the community call today. Thank you. Barbara, back to you.
Yep, I will be closing the recording. Goodbye, the internet. And